It's kind of narrow. Oh, there we go. Since that we have a little audio desync, shouldn't be a problem. So the intro to Oracle of Seasons is pretty boring. We wake up here, Dean finds us, and then we have to talk to all of her troop, which is harder than it sounds, and then talk to her for a little dancing. So everything is pretty nice in the land of Holodrum. We're having a great time dancing, but then things happen. Because Dean doesn't only have really good dancing skills, inevitably good. She's also the Oracle of Seasons, as the name of the game implies. So the bad guy is gonna come and kidnap her. Also shoutouts to the whole crew of people here disappearing forever, other than Impa. Here's the bad guy, Onyx. Onyx has a pretty cryptic plan for now because you have to play both games to actually get it, but he's gonna encase Nairo. Not Nairo. Nairo is the good waifu. Dean in a giant rupee. And that's gonna make the Temple of Seasons, which controls the seasons on all of Holodrum, just sink into the underground. And everything is gonna go crazy. And thus the intro ends. At least for Dragon. Orange still has to match through some text. And the first task in the game is going and getting a sword, because we can't really do anything without a sword. For this initial part, enemies can troll you a lot, like that, but it's not that terrible. So Hero's Cave here, you have to move as optimally as possible because it's the only real way to save time here. But you also have to not fall in the holes, which I hope no one does. And it looks good. Get a key and save and quit. Save warping in this game is really useful for many situations, and it's also faster in most cases because you have to backtrack a lot to get to the entrance of the dungeons. In this case, the way we do it is start and select to open that menu, select the second option, which is save and continue, and so reset by pressing A, B, start and select. And here's the sword. We're just gonna get the sword about 10 seconds after Dragon, meaning that the lead right now is very small. Ooh, Dragon got the bad RNG. So, Horon Village is the only place in the game that doesn't have a specific season every time. In this case, the season can be random every time you enter, and the only one you don't want is winter because there are these huge snow piles that make traveling a little slower. I'm surprised that Dragon didn't reset the season. Orange also got winter but reset it to have spring. And this is Mako Tree. We have to wake him up, but Dragon failed it a little bit. That's okay. He's gonna tell us everything about the world, and we have to say no, so he doesn't repeat it. And in exchange, we get the key to level 1. Level 1 is just around the corner. Again, Dragon is gonna lose a little bit of time here because he has to go around, while Oranges can just cut through this. You're gonna see a lot of similarities to a certain game in the series here. You go through a bridge, and there's this island, and there's a cave in a hollow tree stump that leads to the first dungeon. Because this game is originally, and still is in many ways, a Zelda 1 remake, there are many similarities. This dungeon actually has the same layout as Dungeon 1 in that game, the exact same map, and there's even an old man on a room that we don't really visit. Also, the boss is gonna be really similar. Basically identical, but with a few extra attacks. Dungeon 1 doesn't have much going on right now. I see none of them went for the pretty recent power ring manip, in which you have to kill many enemies here. Both are opting to skip that. Also, minecarts. Minecarts are really slow, and we all hate them. They are present in basically every dungeon. I think Dungeon 2 doesn't have any, and Dungeon 6 doesn't either. Dungeon 7 probably doesn't. Whatever. So here's the convenient chest with bombs. We need bombs here, so getting that is pretty important. You also can get any bomb drops until you have bombs in your inventory. You can buy them in the shop, but you can also get them right here. So that's convenient. And boss players are gonna want to have at least 2 hearts, which Dragon doesn't have, so he can't really take any damage here. With 2 hearts you can just power through all of these and then get a free fairy here. And enter the mid-boss. Korea Brothers. The start here is having one in the corner and just killing him fast, just like that. It's very tricky, and it requires a bomb to have a fast cycle. Doesn't seem like Orange just got it. Oh, Dragon also unequipped the bombs there. There are 2 things important about that. First, the satchel is gonna get equipped right as he walked into it. That's pretty fast. And also, opening the menu in transitions, like stairs mostly and some areas, makes it so you don't have to really wait for the transition to end and being able to move, and you can change items there. It's a little more optimal than having it just as a normal menu, so they are gonna try to do that as much as possible. Down is gonna hard reset here. So the way RNG works in the Oracle's games is that, first of all, every time you hard reset the console, the value goes back to 0, or probably not 0, but whatever. And every frame in the title screen rolls it. And then there are specific things that roll it, like enemies moving, or enemies appearing, or sword slashes. In this case, Dragon is gonna wait for a specific sound in the sword, and this is gonna make it so the RNG for Aquamentus here is perfect to kill him without any bad attacks. Pretty clean Dungeon 1. Orange is gonna do basically the same. I don't think he's in manip. I didn't really pay attention to that. No, he's not. So we may see an Aquamentus charge from Oranges, which loses quite a lot of time, and it's pretty annoying. But he was a good boy, so everything is okay. Now, the Dungeon 1 manip can be carried over to continue through many areas and extend to Dungeon 2. We'll see if Dragon goes for that. Extending the manip is gonna make one specific room pretty good, and also gives him 10 rupees, but he already has 10 rupees, so that's not gonna be as useful. You need 10 rupees for a minigame later on the run. It's basically the only rupee need you have in the whole game. Here's Rosa. Rosa is gonna try to spot us in a pretty amazing and super hard stealth section. There are different patterns to Rosa, but most of the time you don't really care about that unless you're Manip. There are some slow patterns, but this Manip ensures that he has the best possible patterns, so that's nice. Also, Subversions don't really have good eyesight, so Dragon is gonna be able to just hop in here, and now he's invisible. And I think he just gave up on the Manip. So this is Subversia. It's the underground part, we can call it that. Underworld maybe would be more appropriate. The underworld part of Holodrum. It has a lot of stuff, many subversions, and the Temple of Seasons, which sang here. And it's pretty important that we go there to get the Rod of Seasons and a few seasons throughout the game. The center portion of the temple gives us the Rod of Seasons. Works like the sword, but it pushes enemies instead of damaging them. It damages some enemies like Stalfos, but it's not really useful for that. And now the first tower for the seasons, which is Winter here, is open, so we can go and get that. That one is gonna get Winter, as Orange just gets the Rod of Seasons. So the Rod of Seasons starts with no seasons. It doesn't really have any use other than pushing enemies, as I said. And as you get more and more seasons, you can use them to change the world. Also high 5 incoming, even if it's a cutscene. Oh, I forgot to mention, you're supposed to get the boomerang from suppression dancing, but you can just throw a bomb, and that works. You don't want to do suppression dancing, so we are really glad that that works. Dragon is gonna be the first one to go back to Holodrum. And now we can go and do a few other things before going to Dungeon 2. He's gonna equip the Rod of Seasons here. The Rod of Seasons doesn't really work to change seasons anywhere except on 3 stamps, like this one here. And because we only have one season, it's gonna change to Winter every time, which is useful. Every season has its own perks. Winter makes trees appear like that, so you can walk through them. Also makes some snow piles appear. And it also makes it so it's Christmas. And that's what we're gonna use it here for. So here's a house. We're gonna go through the chimney, and the girl is gonna think that we are Santa. And she's gonna give us a shovel because that's the tradition here apparently. No milk and cookies, only shovels. Now, Dragon is not in Manip, so oh, that was pretty good, so I didn't have to say anything. This is Moblin Road, and Moblins can be in the way, and they can be really annoying, but that was pretty good for him. Usually if you can carry the RNG Manip to this, it's pretty useful. And here he's gonna get the second seeds, the Mr. Seeds. Mr. Seeds are used to get hints from all statues. We don't really need them for that. So they are mostly useless. They are needed for one thing in the game. So they are required to get. Pretty good ropes. He's gonna get the key here and save warp because it's faster than walking out. And now we're gonna encounter the main target of carrying the manip all the way through here. And that is the bracelet room. There's a pit, there are 2 moblins on the other side, and they can be real jerks. So usually if you go on manip all the way through here, you can throw a bomb to them and they die. The other strat is just waiting for them to walk. Oh, unfortunate fall. But decent RNG. He's gonna get extra bombs and get the power bracelet. Orange is gonna enter dungeon 2, a little behind still. And power bracelet can leave stuff, of course. So first we need one key that is really out of the way in this room. This room is technically timed, you have to complete fast or the chest disappears. And you have only so many bombs, so that can be bad, but it's very rare for any speedrunner of anyone or anyone who has actually played this game to fail this. He's gonna save warp. I still think that this is not faster, but I've seen a lot of people do it. Save warping in this particular place takes you to the entrance of the dungeon, but you can just walk out. Dragon is not doing powering, as someone asked. We'll see if he does any other rings. There are many optional manips for the run that make it a little easier and a little faster sometimes. But doesn't seem like any of them is gonna do any. Unless they are gonna do hard ring, which would be right before going to dungeon 3. I'm just doing the timed place here. Shouldn't be a problem. Meanwhile, Dragon is gonna enter the mid-boss for this dungeon, which is Facade. Facade is an interesting boss in the Japanese version because he's not there, but he exists and we can damage him. So you can just throw 5 bombs to him and he dies. Like so. This is exclusive to the Japanese version, so don't try it at home, unless you are Japanese. Now for the last part of dungeon 2, Dragon is gonna go here first and open this wall here. This is mainly to set up the spinner, the thing in the middle, to be in a specific position for later. The spinner works in a way that is a little confusing if you are not familiar with it, but basically it's gonna rotate to one, how would you say, whatever. It goes either, unfortunate fall. It goes either right or left, but only once. And then you have to go around to get another rotation from the other side. And Dragon is very close to dying in this room, which is not ideal. Moving platforms in... moving platforms in this game are not the best for collision purposes, so you can sometimes fall through them. That was not the case, he just fell because he didn't do it correctly. But hey, he has the warp from the mid-boss, so that's not a big deal. He just has to go around. Orange is gonna enter Facade, almost falling on the pit. That's bad. And he knows the strat. And now Dragon gets the revenge he much deserves and gets the boss key. And now he's ready to go and beat the Dungeon 2 boss, which is another Zelda 1 boss. Can you guess which one? Well, it's the same order as the actual game. First was Aquamentus, now we have dragonc0. The dragonc0 fight is actually really different compared to Zelda 1. It makes you use the actual dungeon item for it. So instead of just throwing a bomb to him, you can pick him up and throw him to the center. The first 2 hits are free, then he's gonna charge once. You want him to charge into the wall, so the animation is shorter. I'm pretty good fight from Dragon. Oranges on the other hand didn't die, so he's gonna get a little time here because he didn't have to walk all the way around. But he's gonna take a few hearts here. Not that they are really needed, honestly, but sure, why not? You had full health. Down is not gonna do any extra manips. You can manip for the heart ring here, which gives you passive health regeneration, and that's pretty good. It's a small time loss, but a lot of people just get it for safety. It's not proven to be faster, but it can save you a lot of time looking for hearts. Normally Dragon would have to go down here and visit the tree. The Ember tree is used mainly because you need to warp to it. It's the fastest way to get to Horn Village. He already did that on the intro because he got Winter, so it's not a big deal for him. Instead he's gonna go to the next part of the world, Holodrum Plain. And Oranges is not doing carving manip either. So the first thing to do here is go to this place and challenge Blaino to a boxing match. He has gloves, but we have the power of the Triforce, I guess. And as a prize, he's gonna give us the spare gloves he has, which are actually Ricky's gloves, so we have to go and give them to him. Dragon just got Senses. Senses are not useful in any way. They attract enemies, but they don't really have any real use in this game. They are not needed. However, you technically need them for one boss fight for it not to go terribly, so it's a good idea to have them. So this is Ricky. Ricky is the worst. His movement is really bad. He jumps a little, he can punch, he can jump up to higher platforms, which we will see in a little bit. But he's also really bad to control, and we all hate him. There are 3 different animal companions you can have in this game. Mush is the best, Dimitri is the second, but Ricky in this game is the fastest. And talk about fast, Pegasus Seeds. Pegasus Seeds work in a similar way of every other Zelda that has Pegasus Woods, except you can move freely, so that's pretty nice. They are limited, of course, but we can get some refills during the run. Orange is having a little troll with Blaino. Fortunately he doesn't fail, so that's nice. Now, since seeds are really limited, you'll see Dragon use them only in places that he knows are important. In this case, this room is not important. A big part of running this game, and also ages to some degree, is knowing when to use your seeds, because you need to refill them after every dungeon, so you want to use all of your seeds if possible. That's the thing that mainly comes from experience, so Dragon knows perfectly where to use every seed. Oranges will probably not have that luxury for now. He also doesn't dismount Ricky, which is slower than just walking. But whatever. Talk about Ricky. We need him again. Dragon changed the season to winter. This is mostly for a specific chest that opens up in winter. Not because he needs to walk through the water. That's not required. So this cave here, you can't access it unless you enter here in winter. And Ricky can just stomp on those snow piles. And also punch open the cave, so that's fast. And now he's gonna enter the second subversion section, which is not that big but kind of big RNG part. There are 4 different spots for Nor here. He didn't get first try, he didn't get second try. He's gonna be third. You can lose a little bit of time here if you get third or fourth. Mostly because you can't carry your best seat all the way to the shop here. That star ore is used to get this bow for free. And that bow can be used as a gift for a very special person that we're gonna meet right now. This is Rosa. She's gonna be our date for a while. Rosa has a few things. Mainly a skeleton key that can open any lock. Any lock in Subversia, that is, which is 4 different locks. 2 here, 1 in the Temple of Seasons, and 1 that doesn't really get visited in any percent. She's the literal key to get to the second essence, or second... never mind. Second season, the summer, which is in the northwestern part. And with a flare of summery passion, the first part of the date is over, and we have the second part, which is going back. Oranges gets first try on the star ore, which is pretty nice. He's gonna get a little bit of time from Dragon. And now, to end the date, we're gonna leave Rosa forever in the screen. We're not gonna see her again. And now for one last ride with Ricky. Now that we have summer, we can go up to the dam that we drained, and Dungeon 3 is there for some reason, so that's pretty convenient. To enter Dungeon 3 you need summer, which makes legs dry, but also grows vines, like these ones. And this is Dungeon 3, Poison's Muffler. A kind of annoying dungeon, but it also has the second to best item in the game. The first annoying part is gonna be a room coming up, which is referred as the hands room. There are a lot of roller masters in the way, and you have to push a pot to the switch. But there's a way to get this room fast, which is hands manip. Each floor master in here appears whenever you are going, so you can easily manip where he's going. Unfortunately, it seems like Dragon messed it up at the end, so that's unfortunate. We'll have another chance to see it. You can just opt to not do it and just equip the sword and kill the hands. Now for a small little strat. He didn't get it, so whoops. You can make that hole appear as you are pushing the block, and that saves a little bit of time. And here's a rare seasons puzzle. There are 3 puzzles in this game. This is one of them, and it's not even hard. Oranges apparently rode Bricky all the way through here, which is not optimal, I'm sorry. Whatever. Dawn is gonna come to this room, which contains the dungeon item, the Rock's Feather. Rock's Feather is pretty nice, it allows you to jump. And jumping is really good. You can usually jump 1 tile gaps, actually 2 if you have a correct position. And with seeds you can jump up to 2 normally, or 3 if you have a good position. So seeds and feather are very important in combination. We can see it in action here, unless the keys are on the way, which they seem to be. And here's another use for the feather. Trampolines. Trampolines shoot you upwards 1 floor, but you need to be in a specific... Oh, apparently Orange just got caught by the hands. That's pretty bad. Whatever. You move the trampoline and get shoot upwards for another key. Now Orange is gonna have a second try at this room. Apparently doesn't know the manip, or doesn't really trust doing it. But the hands don't really respond, so you can just kill them. That's a safe bet. On the other hand, we're gonna see Dragon attempt hands manip again, and he fails it immediately, so whoops. Okay, he's through, and now he can go to the mid-boss of this dungeon, Omwai. Omwais are pretty easy, but they have a little bit of strategy. There are 3 of them. You have to pull them from their holes, and then it's 4 slashes. They bounce around pretty erratically, but you can just hold your sword and get a free hit. It's pretty important that you have them killed in 1 cycle, or else they go back into the holes, and that loses time. Orange is being really conservative with his hits, and also taking a lot of damage. So the last part of Dungeon 3 for Dragon is gonna go to this part to get the boss key, and then save and quit and go to the boss. A boss that is not from Zelda 1. He's instead from Zelda 3, A Link to the Past. So as the name of the dungeon implies, we're gonna fight a poison moth called Mothula. Mothula is pretty tricky. There are holes here, and if you fall down in any of them, the health in the boss resets. But she also likes to circle around, so you can hit her on the way around. And sometimes she just goes to the center. So as long as you don't fall and you get some hits while she's circling around, it's a pretty easy fight. That's 3 essences for Dragon. And he's gonna make a save state? What are you doing? Now, Dragon has used every single seed that he had, and he's gonna get a free refill here because he has to go through the best seed tree. That's 18 seeds. And the next area, the Dungeon 4 area, is right around the corner. So coming up is the Natsu region, which can be different depending on what animal companion you got. Ricky's region here is kind of slow, but it's also the fastest to get because Ricky is really fast to get. So unfortunately we have to deal with Ricky one more time. These shoes in the way have a high probability of dropping seeds, and you want at least one best seed drop, which is pretty nice. Oh, falling in the hole. Ricky movement is very bad, and sometimes he just decides to fall in the hole. I'm just having problem with the spiky beetles, which by the way can be flipped with a shovel. I didn't really talk on that. Now, Dragon getting a seed refill here, or a seed drop rather, is pretty important because it means that he can spam seeds all the way through Dungeon 4. If you don't get one of them, of those seed drops, it means that you have to be a little conservative with your seeds, and that's slow. I'm just having another try at the hunt room. And Dragon just got gale seeds. They are used to warp between trees, so they are pretty fast. They also insta-kill enemies, but that's secondary. So these kids are bullying Dimitri, the second animal companion that we're gonna see, and also the worst, objectively, even if it's really fast. To get them to not bully Dimitri anymore, we have to give them all of our bombs, which means we don't have any bombs right now. It's also a really bad idea to give any bombs to children, but who am I to say that? Oh, and that's a puzzle, apparently. You have to hit all statues with the same sword slash, and doing that actually counts as one sword slash, so it works. And we got the Master's Plaque to talk to Master Diver to get the Zora Flippers. And now we don't need Dimitri anymore because we can swim in our own. Flippers can also be used to submerge, like so. And now we are in Mount Kuko, the Dungeon 4 area. There are many things to do here before Dungeon 4. First of all, we need to have Spring. Spring is pretty important. So for that, we're gonna go to Subrosia one more time and go through the worst part of the game. these versions decide to just go through you, I guess, and get your feather. So now you can't access the place you need to go. And to recover the feather, you have to play a little minigame. Hide and seek. Hide and seek is boring, it's an auto-scroller, and these guys are completely blind. So you just wait for a while and dig some stuff. Hopefully not get that. That's a fire pokey and they deal damage and they are annoying. But hey, these guys move the same way every time. So as long as you do the same thing every single time, they will not see you. Another fire pokey, that's 2. Going for the world record probably. Can we see a 3rd? That's actually like it. Also, subversions are completely blind, as I said with Orza. Damn, Dragon is really confident on his digging. He just doesn't stop. And other subversions are gonna place the feather on a completely random spot that you could have never guessed. And now we have the feather, and we can go and get spring. Oh. I don't know why that fall, and I don't know why you tried that. Come on, Dragon. Jumping into these places is kind of tricky, and this room in particular is kind of bad for some reason. It's more famous for the way back, honestly, but whatever. Here's the 3rd season, spring. In spring, flowers appear and bananas grow, and we need bananas. So let's see if Dragon gets the damn jump. On the way back in that to the room, you can do a 1 pixel jump, double 1 pixel jump to get into this platform. Nice, great job. And now he's gonna go here and open this. This is a shortcut for later, for Dungeon 7, which makes going to the Dungeon 7 area much faster. And now we can turn this area into spring and do an LADX trick, which is wall clipping for its only real use in this game. Cuckoo clipping. Instead of going around and grabbing the cuckoo, you just grab him there. Wall clipping is not as useful in this game as it is in LADX, but it exists, so yeah. All that to go here and get the spring banana. Spring banana is the best item in the game because it leads to the best companion in the game, Mush. Mush is a bear and he can fly. That's all you need to know, really. He's also blue, I guess. Oh, also, I didn't really mention that because he got it fast. When we got Dimitri in Second City, our bombs were completely removed, and we need bombs for Dungeon 4. So getting a bomb drop is pretty important, and Dragon got it pretty fast. He's also setting up for the Death Warp, which is a big brain play. Death Warping is not fast, generally, but it gives you 3 hearts. So if you're low on health, it's a pretty good strat. He's gonna go back to this cave, and now he doesn't need much anymore. The Dungeon 4 entrance is here, but it's blocked by a waterfall. so we have to use the key that we got right before this to go and open the waterfall, which is a callback to LADX, another one in this place, right next to the wall cliffs. But first we need another cuckoo, the second and last cuckoo in the game. I'm sorry if you can understand me. I know my accent is sometimes really bad, but I know of this game, so yay. Orange just forgets that he has to go to Subversion first. Honestly, can't blame him. But whatever. Dungeon 4, Dancing Dragon Dungeon. It has the best music in the game, and it also is pretty hard. It's basically the first really hard dungeon in the game, and it's when things start to pick up. First of all, we have this amazing puzzle, the second and probably last puzzle in all of Oracle of Seasons. You move some pots. Oh, and Orange is going through this hell of a place without a shovel, which is pretty interesting. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about full sword. So the subversions give you full sword instead of the feather. And full sword is actually one of the best items in the game. It deals a lot of damage. You can one-shot many enemies and two-shot some of the endgame bosses. But you can't really use them or use it in any way. So if you want to use full sword in an actual good way, put it to use, kill some things, play Oracle of Seasons random. Oh, by the way, this game was made by Capcom, and here's Mega Man. Come on. Doing this room with seat active is actually harder than doing it without it, so that can happen sometimes. And we go all the way through here for a single key, and Dragon is gonna death warp again to get 3 hearts. Actual big brain move, because having 1 heart for the rest of the dungeon is very bad. Everything can kill you here. Here's a tricky jump. You just hold up and left. It's not that hard. Also, the switch is really bad. If you're swinging down in this minecart, that switch actually gets hit. So you have to make sure, like Dragon was doing, to not swing your sword randomly. In this room, you want the light legs to be as close to the water as possible, so you can just push them and they die. Didn't happen. And now Dragon is gonna use his last seed, because there's a guaranteed seed refill here. And Orange is finally done with this hellish place. Now for the second floor of this place. Dragon is gonna go here first, get an extra key, and then go to the mid boss. Another boss that is not original of this game. You will see why I say that, because yeah, it's kind of familiar to some other Zelda game, but it's not who you think it is. This is Agonima. He makes 2 clones, and there's one that has the shadow, and that's the real one. So you just light the torches and hit that one. The fairy decides to not collaborate. That's pretty bad for Dragon. Oh well. And now one last minecart ride to go to the dungeon item. Both sisters are in dungeon 7, not here. Did this freeze? Or is it just me? I'm gonna refresh. Okay, it was probably just me. So I missed the amazing slingshot. Slingshot lets you shoot seeds, and that's a key that just spawned. There's another seed shooter in Oracle of Ages that lets you shoot diagonally, so it's better. Facts. But this one is the one we have to get. Incoming very stupid jump that can sometimes be a real pain. It's a diagonal jump that looks really hard and is really hard, but he gets it easy. And here's the boss key. Now Dragon is gonna go up here to get this last key. Pretty important, many people don't remember that this key exists and then go to the last part of the dungeon without it, and that loses a lot of time. He's gonna equip the sword and Gale Seeds. Gale Seeds are a one-shot in every enemy, pretty much. They don't work in every enemy, but they sure do in these enemies that we're gonna face now. Wish ropes. Wish ropes are really bad. They spawn randomly, but they die from one Gale Seed. And as I said, randomly, Dragon just got destroyed. And he keeps getting destroyed. This is pretty bad RNG, but he gets to it. He's gonna try to get some hearts from these guys. The mini gels drop hearts in a very frequent manner. And here's another pretty tricky jump. Diagonal, not diagonal, it's not diagonal. Horizontal 3-tile jumps are really hard. You need to be in a specific position for it to work. And even if you get the specific position, you need one specific pixel most of the time. That one is gonna go to Goma with only 2 hearts. This is not ideal, it's a real monk AS. Okay, so there are 2 ways to beat Goma. You can destroy her claw, and then he becomes really erratic, or you can place yourself in a specific pixel, and that lets you shoot through her eye. Only Sand Seeds and Ember Seeds work. And that was pretty much a perfect fight. Goma tries to grab you every time if you are close enough. You want to bait that attack, then jump over it, and then shoot her. It's a really tricky fight to get, but that's 4 essences. And just as Dragon is gonna exit this, Oranges is gonna enter dungeon 4. Before going to dungeon 5, there's one specific thing that has to be done here, because there's a secret cave here that leads to one of the 4 jewels that we need. We got the square jewel. Was it square? Yeah, square jewel on dungeon 3. Yeah, it's dungeon 3. Right for dungeon 3. This is the pyramid jewel. It's really out of the way, so it's important to get it right now. And then he's gonna warp, get a seed reveal from this tree, and then go to this tree. This is the first real use of Gale Seeds to warp. and it really pays off. As you can see, you can just go anywhere in the world. Dungeon 5 is right here. Fun fact, it's technically faster to get the flippers then go to Dungeon 5 and beat it than going to Dungeon 4. So for a 4 essence race, you would do Dungeons 1, 2, 3 and 5. But to get to Dungeon 5, we have to get the last season, and for that we need this. Some really cool gems in this part, the furnace, to get the bomb flower. The bomb flower is something that is in both Oracle games, and the use is basically the same in both. There's one rock that we can't really remove in any way except having the bomb flower, and that rock is right on the entrance to the fall tower. So that one is gonna go all the way through here and give the bomb flower to this guy. Shout out to Mega Man again. With this we have all 4 seasons on the road. This is gonna give us a small text here saying basically the same that I said. And now it's time to go back to the same portal because it's right next to Dungeon 5. So Fall is the last season that we get. It does 2 things, one of which doesn't really matter. It covers some pits with leaves, so you can walk over them. We don't really do that. It also makes some mushrooms go ripe, and then you can pick them up. And that's pretty important to get to Dungeon 5. We also discovered through Rando that a lot of things can actually destroy the mushrooms, like the boomerang or Dimitri. Shout out to Dimitri. So we're gonna go through all the seasons here and go up here to Dungeon 5. Dungeon 5 is Unicorn's Cave, which doesn't really make any sense because the unicorn was in Dungeon 1, but don't question it. It's a kind of slow dungeon. It goes very, very fast, as in it's barely 5 minutes, probably more, whatever. But there are a lot of minecarts that make it a little slow to get through. Fortunately, it also has the best dungeon item in the game, or one of the best. It's very fun, and we're gonna get it right away because we can't really do anything here without it. You can technically do a lot of things here without it, actually. You can get to 1 key and get to the mid-boss if you can jump enough. But that doesn't really happen for any percent. A big hat being really nice. And here's the dungeon item. The Mana Glove. Mana Glove has 2 polarities, north and south, and it attracts or repels items or you. And it's pretty fun because we can do things like this. And here's another pretty tricky jump, even trickier than I thought. That one is just crazy like that. There's 1 frame between releasing the Mana Glove and actually falling in the hole in which you can jump. So you can easily just do that if you hover, if you buffer it, not hover. You're technically hovering, but yeah, buffer. Nice fairy drop, by the way. Here's the 4 armors room. You have to kill these armors in a specific order, and then remember that order. It didn't go that well for the dragon, but that's okay. He got a seed drop, so that's very okay. So you kill them in a specific order and then open the chest in the same order to get a key. If you fail the order, all the armors turn into antifairies and you have to exit the room and enter again. And now it's time to go through many minecarts. First round has to go all the way through here to kill this guy. That's gonna make it so we can move this block and spawn this wall and save and quit. That's gonna come into play a little later. So I said there was one frame that you can jump on. That's only for those static blocks. In these blocks you can just walk in the air for about a second, I would say. It's somewhere around a second. It's pretty easy, you just release it and walk forward, and then you can jump to the other side without the need to wait. And now one last key here, and Dragon can go and beat Zygar, the mid-boss of the dungeon. Alright, I didn't commentate on that, yeah. You can spam the glove to have a really annoying sound, but it also gives you a little bit of lag, so it's not optimal. This is Zygar. If everything goes right, this will be a 3-cycle for Dragon. It can be very random sometimes in the attacks he chooses, like this one. You just have to hit the tail, and that's pretty nice. Right next to the entrance, or the exit rather. And now, in this room you're supposed to go all the way around and move a block, but you can just jump through that, so you don't really need that. Like, here's some very cool jumps. He fails the actual cool jump, so never mind. And that's to get the boss key. I don't know why Dragon did that, but sure, it works. And we'll see if he does the fancy jump. He does! You can do this jump and it's bad because you don't get extra health. And this is the dogger. You hit him 4 times with the ball, and then you have to kill the 5 mini doggers. This can be very tricky, and it's kind of hard to one cycle consistently, but he gets it. That's the 5th essence, as Oranges is doing Gomo. Didn't really pay attention to his dungeon 4, but he's gonna run out of Sense Seeds, so he has to change to Ember Seeds. That should be okay. Dragon is basically 1 dungeon ahead, so the lead is pretty significant right now. Okay, to enter dungeon 6, you need the 4 jewels. We have 2 right now, so Dragon has to go and get the other 2. The first one is right around here. You can technically access it when you have the flippers, but you have to beat dungeon 5 in order for this guy, this old man, to give you the round jewel. The other one is guarded by the hardest boss in the game, the commonly called Black Beast. In order to meet the Black Beast, we have to go to the beach and use the mystery seeds for the first and last time in the run. So mystery seeds have a random effect between the other seeds, so you can just spam this torch and hope that it has a an ember seed. And this is the Black Beast. Which has the X jewel. So as I said, Capcom made this game. And they did something kind of weird with this specific dungeon coming up. Look at the jewels and tell me if you see any pattern, anything weird with it. The jewels are apparently treasures of a bygone area, so they are things that are from the ruins, so you can make your own lore from that. This is Town Ruins. Town Ruins requires using a lot of seasons, so you need the 4 seasons to advance in it. First you move that statue as he already did. That makes it so you can walk up here. Move these armors and change it to fall. But he doesn't, apparently. He prefers to use this one, losing the frames. Oh, he just wanted to not have the... Okay, this menu doesn't make any sense. Come on, dragon. Whatever. So, funny story. There's a trading sequence in this game that tells you how to get the level 2 sword, the noble sword. It's a pretty useful sword. It does more damage and it also breaks pots. But the only thing that you get from this is a hint on how to get it. So if you already know how to get it, you can just do this and hey, that's a level 2 sword. The path to the sword is basically going from coldest season to hottest season and going to the left every time. So you do winter left, fall left, etc, etc. And to get to dungeon 6 you do basically the same, except you go to the left and then go counterclockwise. Now, that flower is supposed to boost you up to the Dungeon 6 area, or Dungeon 6 entrance, but it's actually blocked by a statue that we have to go remove. And for that you have to go here. Hope that there are no dark knights in the way, which didn't happen. And move the statue, and go down. No, this is not randomized, but there is a randomizer for this, and it's pretty fun, except when it soft locks. So before Dungeon 6 we get this mysterious person, which also has the Cane of Pirna from A Link to the Past. We will know who that is at the end of the game. Dungeon 6, Ancient Ruins. It's basically a tower, and it's my favorite dungeon. It's really fun and also really stupid. The first floor is just going around to get one specific key here, and then we can start doing stuff and going up. This key here is pretty tricky actually. You have to move this ball to the other side of the room and then push it and push the button. It's very rare that I see a perfect room in this. Not even Dragon can do it, apparently. With that key we can go to the upper floors and get the dungeon item, which is another really fun item, so I'm happy about that. Also, that save and quit that Dragon just did saves an entire key, so that's pretty nice. That jump is extremely hard, but he gets it without any problem. Not extremely hard, but really tricky. 3-tile jumps are generally kind of hard sometimes. And now these guys are in the way. These spiky beetles are kind of bad, and they are sometimes in the way. There are different ways to deal with them. I personally shoot them with gel seeds, because if I don't, this happens. You can also quit the sword and kill them, but that's slow. And now that one is really low on health. Hopefully he doesn't die, because that means he has to get an extra key. But he's gonna get the magic boomerang. It's a pretty nice item. You can hold the button down to guide it. And it also kills every armor in the way. And he got a seed drop, so that's pretty good. Death warping here is not ideal. The thing is, after getting the first key, the one with the other magnet ball, you save an entire key by save warping out, because you don't have to go around. So if you died here, or didn't save warp, you would have to go and get another key, and that's very slow. And now we can go and enter the last part of the dungeon. Not last, there are a lot of rooms to go, but you basically go up and up through every floor. Here's a demonstration of the magic boomerang, moving it around. And we'll see if Dragon decides to use the seat here. He doesn't. Good job. Every time I see someone use the seat in this room in particular, this jump to this moving platform is extremely hard to do when you are fast. So you rather not do that. Also, level 2 sword can do that. It's a thing that I commented but I didn't really come into play until now. It's gonna be used in Dungeon 7 and 8 more prominently. It's way faster than equipping the bracelet, that's for sure. Oh, that was the Indiana Jones room. If you go fast, you don't get crashed. It's that easy. And in that room, kill every Stalfos and move that block. And fall down here to get a key. Now we can go for the most annoying mid-boss in Oracles in general, because it's also in Ages. But in Ages we can manipulate for it to make the same pattern every time. In this case you can't, but he also dies very fast. Bayer can charge at you like that. He can also circle around like that, and that's bad. You can hit him just barely, but it's kind of hard. You want him to just charge at you every time, and he dies in 3 spins. But he's not being nice. And now for the actual last part of the dungeon. We have a small RNG section, which mimics the one in Ages, except it's way better in terms of changes. First try, so not a problem. There's a 50-50 chance of getting the stairs or getting ropes to kill. generally it's faster to just exit the room every time you have to retry. And now in this room, he's gonna push the trampoline to a specific spot and jump on it to open the way to the boss door. The boss in this dungeon is arguably the most annoying one, depends on who you ask. The dogger may be hard for other people, but it's Manhandla. Manhandla is very bad and I hate it. He basically has 4 heads, shout outs to the A mode, and you have to hit every head 3 times with the boomerang in order to break them. The problem is that every time you destroy a head, he gets faster, so you have to keep track of every head's health in order for this to be completely optimal. And sometimes things go south. That was a pretty good fight anyway. Then you hit him 3 times with this, and hit the jewel. And that's the 6th essence. Orange is meanwhile getting the boss key for dungeon 5. So he will be going to dungeon 6 pretty early, as long as he doesn't really mess up the route. It's pretty common for new people to mess up the route after dungeon 5, because you have to remember to get both seeds or both jewels, you know what I mean. Down is gonna make a pit stop to get some guild seeds. It's technically not necessary, but it can be better for safety. And now he's gonna go to Horon Village and go to this. This is basically the only thing that the magic boomerang opens in the world. It leads to the pirate part of Subrosia. The captain basically says, hey, we want to go and have adventures in the sea, but we can't go because we don't have our trusty bell. Because what's the pirate without its bell? So we have to go get that bell. That bell is conveniently located in a desert that is right here, and it's also another RNG part. Orange is dealing with Big Dogger. Apparently it reformed, so that's bad. Oh well. Okay, so Samasa Desert has a 1 in 4 chance of having the bell in a specific position. There are 4 pits that can have it. You first talk to this guy, and then you go get a skull that tells you which pit it is. You can't actually just fall into the pits and hope to get the bell. You have to have the skull with you in order to get the bell, so it's important that he has it. It's gonna be first try, so that's nice. Doesn't need to go around the whole desert for it. He's also using seeds like a madman. I don't know what he's doing. But hey, Oranges has 5 essences now. Oh, he has a plan. Okay. So gets another seed refill and goes to the mystery tree. Because the bell right now is broken and we can't give it to the pirate captain like that. So in order for the bell to actually work, we have to go to a Subrosian smithy and get it polished. The smithy is right around here, so use this portal. Now the thing about this smithy is that he doesn't like people that are polite. He doesn't like people that say please or thank you or whatever. He just wants you to have determination. So please, I want the chat to say do it. For the second option that says do it. That Dragon didn't hit. Dragon said please fix my bell instead of just saying do it, which is the other option. Apparently he did it again. Nice job. Truly a top runner of this game. Come on. Do it. That's it. And just like that, the bell is fixed. Now, we opened a lot of things in the way during our Super Set trips, so we're gonna use them now. First the Rosa place, then this, and now we're in the hide and seek area, and we can go to the pirates. And it's time for everybody's favorite part of the run, the pirate cutscene. It's very long, it also has actual text that you have to match through, so you can just leave it playing and go to the bathroom or whatever. So in tradition, when the ship starts to sink, I want everyone to use any pirate emote that you may have. The default Twitch one is capital R and close parentheses, but if you have any sub emotes of pirates, just use that. Why not? I'm just gonna enter town ruins now, while Dragon has a nice trip in the sea. These pirates are quite incompetent. First of all, they are dead, so that's already a sign of being pretty bad at life. And they also got their ship sunk, and they also somehow get dizzy, even if they are skeletons, so they don't have stomachs, so they don't have any way to really get dizzy. All of them are bad, including the captain, even if he says stop being CCs. See, even the captain is bad. So they are so dizzy that they are just gonna park here in a conveniently placed bridge that we couldn't cross before, that leads to the Dungeon 7 area. Normally you would have to go up here and make it so this area is summer, but you can just barely jump around here and avoid doing that. The only change here is that there's a snow pile, so you have to dig it. It's not that inconvenient. And here's Dungeon 7, Explorer Script. That one is not gonna go for the manip here. There's a pretty convenient RNG manip that is also kind of hard, because it requires you to be perfect in the first part. And now in Dungeon 7 we can finally introduce the first skip in the run, post skip. The first real skip in this entire run that has basically no skips or glitches. First he's gonna go here and grab a key. And then he's gonna go to the side room that he opened with the bomb. And the thing about this room, these torches go out eventually and they warp you to the entrance of the dungeon, but you can just barely get into those stairs before the torches run out. Thus skipping having to go around, use a key, beat a bow, and then go through that normally. It's kind of tricky, but it's pretty easy once you have it down. And here's this room. One of the statues here is actually a statue and not an Armos. It's completely random, and you have to go around until you hit it. Dungeon 7 has a lot of convenient places. The first one being here, 2 free seats. So that's pretty nice. Oh no. Yeah, kisses are sometimes in the run, you know what I mean. Whatever. Kisses are bad. As I was saying. Kisses are the true last boss of the game. They are always in the way. And usually you want to have the sword here in order for that to not happen. But Dragon is not giving up. He's trying to defeat the Kisses with magnetism. And then uses the wrong end of the magnet. Come on, Dragon. Dungeon 7 is hard, but this room is not. So, great job. Now we can continue. Two really tricky jumps incoming. You have to maneuver in the air and make sure you land at the end. And if you fall down, you go back to the ends of that puzzle room. So that's pretty bad. You don't want to do that. And now he's gonna push this here, jump on it, and get an extra key here. Synchronized moving balls, I guess we could call it that. Both get a key. And I don't know why Dragon keeps spamming the magnet glove, giving himself more luck, but sure, why not. He's gonna get a last hydrofield here and go with the second pose sister. Technically the first we see, but there are two, trust me. First we have to light everything here, which cannot be done without the use of a seed, actually. So it's important that you enter with seed. Then two slashes, or two spin slashes rather, to kill it. It's important that this pose sister is killed because this next room acts like the first torch room in which the torches go out, but you can't really go around this without killing the pose sister. And here comes a pretty nice jump. You can buffer jump out of this and then jump there to skip doing a lot of things in that room that are not fun. And Oranges dies in Dungeon 6, which is pretty bad. I hope he knows how to get the extra key. But whatever. Talk about dying, Dragon, please don't fail me. Okay. Dying in Dungeon 7 is actually very bad, because you have to do post skip again. So hopefully he doesn't fall in the hole here. He doesn't, okay. Really close call, actually. Dragon was very close to having to do post skip again. That loses a lot of time. But he can get extra health here. And now kill these two guys. And get some extra seeds here. And now we can go to the mid boss of Dungeon 7, which is the place you want to get to if you do post skip, because then you get the warp to here. It's both pose sisters at the same time. They try to take out the torches, so the best strategy is to just calm the torches and make sure not all of them go out. They also have more health in general, but it's not that threatening of a mid boss. And now, since Dragon did post skip, he's gonna be able to skip one key here and just go to the boss key. Also the fairy completely avoiding him. Nice. Now the Rockscape, other than being a super cool item, has a hidden mechanic in which if you tap the button you get a small jump, and if you hold it you get a second longer jump. So in order to do that room correctly you have to know about that. And for the boss key, hold right here and hit this switch once and these switches. Getting pretty unfortunate on the start boss. It looked like a pretty good pattern, but then it wasn't. And now with the warp here, you can enter it and go to the boss, which is another dungeon for another Zelda 1 boss. Fortunately, this one is actually way easier than the original one, that being Gleeok. Gleeok in Zelda 1 was pretty bad for the simple reason that your sword could only go to one direction, I guess we can call it that. Now we have an arc and no spin slash, so it's pretty easy. You have to hit the heads a few times so they detach, and then the body is gonna come alive and try to hit us as well. Dragon, please don't die to Gleeok. That would be really, really bad. So Gleeok has a stomp that stuns Link. You can jump and then avoid it, and if you do that, you can just wail on him. Pretty easy fight if you don't mess up. That's essence number 7 for Dragon. So now only one essence remains. Dungeon 8, which is actually the hardest dungeon in the game and has the second and last skip in the game. Since Dragon has a lot of seeds, more than I would normally see here, just I don't know if it's ideal routing, but it's interesting anyway. You can just go to this tree. There are 2 seeds in the way to this dungeon, so usually you don't go to the versus seed tree. Here they are. So he's gonna take out the shovel and do this. Get the double heart. And here comes a pretty tricky jump. You have to jump in an S pattern. It's kind of hard to master. The normal strategy would be changing the season here to fall, but you can just barely make the jump with the seeds and cape, so it's faster to do that. And now for the best way to save any world: destroying it. Subversia is in the underworld, of course. So if we do this and make all the volcanoes there explode, well, the world gets a little messed up. But hey, it's all to save Holodrum, so this is completely justified. So the only reason we actually needed to do that is because there were some trees in the way that don't really disappear in any other way. So yeah, the best way to get to dungeons when nature doesn't really want you to is destroying the world. Here come a few really tricky jumps. You can just barely make these jumps instead of using the Magna Glove. And this jump here is way trickier, but they are kissing the way, so whoops. And here's another extremely tricky jump that he gets. That one is not done by many people because you can just solve the puzzle and it doesn't waste that much time. Now the way is clear and we can go to Dungeon 8. Sword and Shield Maze. The last dungeon in the game, the only one that is in Subversia. And also it's themed after ice for some reason. Also lava, but not as much lava as ice. First of all, there's a key here. There are actually a lot of keys in this dungeon, but thankfully we can skip most of them with a trick called HSS skip, which stands for Hyper Slingshot Skip. The Hyper Slingshot is the item for this dungeon. It's basically the same as the slingshot, but it shoots 3 seeds instead of 1. It's not useful. You have to use it basically twice in the dungeon. But thanks to this revolutionary trick, you can not use it. So Dragon is gonna go here. He's not gonna kill the shell. Okay, he is. He's gonna fall down the pit to make his subpixels reset. Subpixels are a thing that does things in the game, don't question it. And now he's gonna pull out a bomb and start running. And he needs a specific frame after throwing the bomb in which he has to jump. And now a specific frame here in the explosion, which is this one. But doesn't really get it. I don't know what was wrong. This is the hardest trick in the game by far. It's the one that kills the most runs. It's double frame perfect. You have to also have a specific subpixel value. And you can just barely make it into the other side. It's also the biggest skip in the game. It saves about 5 minutes, so not doing it is kind of a suicide. Doesn't get it. That looked pretty good. I don't know what happened. Okay, and Oranges is gonna finish dungeon 6 here, while Dragon keeps fighting this. You see him do specific things after falling down. There are specific setups, I guess you could call them. If you have a seed and have jumped or haven't jumped or whatever, there are different setups to get the correct subpixels. Subpixels are really important because they determine where you land when you stop jumping. So if you don't have a specific subpixel value, you don't get to the last part. This is gonna be 6th try. But he doesn't get it. I should mention that buffering in this game is really bad. The best way to do it is with save and quit, but it also is pretty tricky. If you use the normal menu, and you risk getting a bad buffer because there are a random amount of frames between 1 and 3, which can happen between each pause and unpause. So the best way to buffer in this game is with save and quit. But it's still really bad because you have to save and quit, cancel it, and then 1 frame later, which is really inconsistent, press it again. So buffering in this game is one skill that you really have to master, or just get lucky. And hey, he gets it. 8th try. Not counting the very bad try that he did. It's important that you don't do this on your last seed, because this jump is pretty fast. There are also more places that save time by having more seeds, but if you can save 1 seed, use it here. No question. So all these places are right next to the boss key, and drops us down to one of the last sections of the dungeon. First of all, he's gonna open this thing. This leads to the ghost armors. It moves in a specific pattern, and you have to reproduce it to get a key. he got the best possible RNG, so that's pretty good. And now for the last part of the dungeon, in which the lava in the basement is blocking us from finishing the dungeon. So you have to throw crystals here to solidify it. There are actually 4 holes, but the 4th hole, the one that we're not gonna visit, is only done in the normal route to get an extra key in order to finish the game, or the dungeon rather. Same thing really. So with HSS skip, you have enough keys from not using them to just not place it in that hole, the one we just saw. You can just go to this one and then do some minecart trickery in order to go to the last one and go to the boss of the dungeon. Dragon sleeping apparently. Didn't realize that he could move. That was weird. How much time did Dragon take doing HSS skip? That more than a minute and a half, that's for sure. I would say... Oh, really lucky seed drop. That's amazing. He's gonna have seeds for everything now. I'm gonna say that 8th try should be at least 4 minutes. Oh, he also uses his last bomb for some reason. I don't know at this point. He's just trolling us. Okay, so after moving that minecart on the bottom left part, you can go here, grab a crystal, and go back there. Oh, and we have another pirate cutscene. Right about time. So please, give me some pirates. Oh, Dragon drops the crystal. Beetles can sometimes be in your way and that's bad. But he didn't lose that much health. And he gets it. So Dragon has 0 bombs right now. He used the last one for some reason, but he used a lot in HSS skip. And you need bombs for Honor's Castle, because there's a facade there, and you need to kill it. So he's gonna open this chest here, which conveniently has some bombs. Ooh, that's risky to open now. Oh no, Dragon, please die. Okay. Dragon didn't extend the bridge after HSS skip, so if he dies here, he has to do the skip again. So that's the true monk, I guess. He's gonna refill on health and a few seeds, which he doesn't really need, but sure. And this is Medusa Head, the actual only original boss in the game. It can petrify you, which is gonna happen here because Dragon was way too slow, and it can also go in circles. You can trap her in the wall there, and that's pretty fast. She can also shoot some lasers, which we already saw, but whatever. And this is the Dungeon 8. Oh, he gets it, nice! And the Dungeon 8 heart container is usually mandatory. Not really, you can get a free health refill going out of the dungeon, so many people skip it. But in my opinion it's mandatory. Always get it. That's the 8th essence, so Dragon can now go and finish the game. After giving us our true heart attack. Even if his time doesn't really reflect that. This is a pretty amazing time for how much time he spent in HSS skip. And how many times he was close to dying. Before going to Honors, he has to go to this location, because the Mako tree has something for us. Oranges didn't really have any specific mistakes, but his dungeons in general were not that good. I can just say that. So we got the Maku Seed. The Maku Seed with the 8 essences is the key to get to Onox's castle. The way the flags in this game work, you can't really skip anything, so that's not gonna happen ever. This game is never broken. Play the better game. Oranges is opting not to do post skip. Don't blame him, it's a hard trick. We get to see the first post sister, which is right here. Unfortunately, you have to use a key to get to her, so you don't have an extra key later, so you have to get an extra key. And now the Maku Seed is gonna make it so this part is accessible. Also shoutouts to 30 FPS, which makes some animations look really weird in this game, and in Oracle of Ages as well. But some sprites flicker every frame, so they look really weird. And now we get to see who this old hack that we saw in the 60s. It's Twin Roba. Because this game has nothing original except Medusa Head, and the bad guy has to be someone from another game. The plot of the Oracle games in general is Twin Roba are trying to revive Ganon, and for that they need some kind of flame that they get from the Oracles, that being Din and Nairo. So you beat one of them and they get the flame, and then you connect the game to the other one, and then you can go and beat Ganon. Oh, this is Onox's castle. It's 3 rooms. First one has wish ropes, second one has this, and then there's one facade. This time facade spawns, so we can really kill him as fast as possible. There are specific patterns for it, so as long as Dragon gets good RNG, he should be able to kill it now. I don't know why he was doing that, because he had full health, so great job. And now for the second to last fight, Onox. Onox only gets damaged by sword slashes, or spin slashes, what am I saying? Whatever. So the trick here is to be as fast as possible, dodging his attacks and hitting him. Then things are gonna get a little more complicated. So now he's gonna use Din as a shield. You can technically make her go away with the Season's Rod, but you can also hit her directly, and that puts the hitbox of the sword out for longer, and that makes it so you can double hit Onox, except he's not doing it now. But also each time you hit Din, it's 1 heart of damage, so it can be risky. And now, when I said no bosses in this game are original, I also meant this one. Shoutouts to Capcom, and shoutouts to Sigma, and shoutouts to Mega Man X. This is Dragon Onox. You get on his hand and then hit him. That one is going for a classic strat, which is just doing spin slashes. A very popular strat lately is jumping and hitting Onox once, and that can make it so you can stun lock him if you're fast enough. It's technically a little faster, but also really risky. And talk about risky, Dragon is about to die, so he has to be very careful not to fall here. Gets a pretty good pattern actually. Any other attack would have probably killed him. And that's it. GG's to Dragon. Another really close encounter. But hey, he gets it. A time of 1:49.48. He lost quite a lot of time to HSI skip, and some parts were also sloppy and some deaths, some of them intentional, but still losing time. But he gets a pretty good time. Sub 150 is always pretty good. Not many people can get that time. And now we get to see Oranges struggle through Dungeon 7, one of the hardest of the game, which Dragon also struggled in, but this is gonna be quite different. I'm gonna ask Dragon for an interview while we see if Oranges knows the actual stuff for this. Looks like it. Dragon is not responding. He doesn't want an interview. That's okay. That happens sometimes. We're just gonna congratulate him from here. Apparently Oranges doesn't know the actual stat I was talking about. And he opted to do the, let's call it casual strat. You have to kill the Stalfos first, Oranges. Oranges, you have to kill them. Oh god. This is gonna get really messy. Because this room in particular is super bad. And you don't want to do it too much. Falling down again. I think he doesn't realize that he needs to kill those guys. Or he already did. Never mind. I was not paying attention to that. So for this jump in particular, you can, and most people do, buffer a jump by slashing your sword and moving pixel by pixel until you are right on the edge. But he's just trying it in a normal way, which makes it a lot harder, honestly. Okay, he knows. Let's try now. One more pixel. And now he can use a seed and buffer a jump. Just like that. And gets the rockscape. Now for the last part of the dungeon. We are actually gonna see the entire last part of the dungeon because he's gonna need an extra key, which Dragon didn't need to get. Get the jump and the extra seeds. And now for the mid-boss. Yeah, I know there's not the desync. I can't really do anything about that. It's probably on his end. Okay, so same strat as Dragon. He's gonna camp these torches here. And they're dead. Okay, your audio doesn't really match it because... Never mind. So now to the last part of the dungeon. The stairs maze. And then to get the extra key. The path through here is always the same, so it's not that hard to memorize. There's also a very similar room in Oracle of Ages that we don't get to in the 90% speedrun. Right at the end. Now for the extra key, in case you don't do bow skip, you have to go here and then kill many enemies. Usually you just push them to the pits. It's really hard to kill them without them falling into the pits, honestly, because they are really close. Okay, doesn't trust getting into that. Interesting strat. And now wait for the platform. And to escape this, you push this block, not the other one, the obvious one. Mainly because you would get blocked from going down. It's not really an issue because you can just go up and you actually have to go up, but good thinking, Capcom and Nintendo, I guess. Pretty clean statue room, we can call it that. Now let's see if these Talfos are good to him. He's gonna use the... I've never seen this used here. Talfos generally don't escape from you if you do speed slashes, so that's the usual strat, but I guess you can also do that. And now to go and beat Gleok. Oh, gets wizard in the face, and another one. You can just jump through them, but I guess he didn't want to. He's pretty low on health right now, so this could be bad for him. Hopefully he doesn't die. Did it freeze again? It was probably on his end, okay. So Gleok is dead. That's essence number 7. I think he was having doubts on what tree to go to, but now it's frozen again for me. He seems to be having problems dropping frames. Or maybe it's just internet problems in general. Entering the temple remains area. Let's see how good he is at this jump. It can be really, really tricky. Almost gets it. Starting it from the left side is actually kind of hard. You don't get as much time to maneuver around, or as much leeway to maneuver around rather. You generally want it to start on the right side and just slightly turn for every rock. And gets it. Took a few tries. Health is not a problem because he's gonna get a few fairies in the way. But still, it takes a little toll on the damage. There are also Lionels in the way, and Lionels do a lot of damage, so hopefully nothing happens. And hey, we get to destroy the world again, so that's cool. Ooh, having a lot of problems with Tektites. There are actually a lot of Tektites in the way here, mainly because the space you have to walk to is very limited, so it's normal to get hit here, but that many times, that never happens. Now let's see if he knows how to do this. Perfect. Ooh, getting hit by the keys. Makes him not get to that. And again. Like he's just gonna do the puzzle. Doesn't trust his health for this. And the classic, having to equip sword just because kisses are in the way. Almost gets run by one of the Lionels. This seed usage... This may be bad for HSS skip later. You want to have as many seeds as possible there to have more tries, because every try is one seed. So hopefully nothing happens there. Gets the fairies. And now he can go into Dungeon 8. Doesn't quite hit die. You have to be somewhat in vision of it. How can I even say it? It has to be at least half in the screen in order to resist the hit. You don't really have to see the eye that lights up when you shoot a seed to it, but you want to see the status feeds. And now we'll see another key here, and probably a safety save, I would assume. Not yet. Oh, uses the boomerang for that. Yeah, anti-fairies turn into fairies when you hit them with the boomerang. It's useful in some places. This is one of them. Now resets the sub-pixels, and he's gonna get the position and get ready for HSS escape. Doesn't trust that, but the vertical position is not that important. As long as you don't move diagonally, the sub-pixels don't change, so it's not a big deal, but still, it's not important. Doesn't quite get the buffer. Oh, and gives up immediately, so we're gonna go and see the rest of Dungeon 8. Go in a journey with all of chat, who has I mean, if you have not played this game casually, that's bad. But a lot of people that speedrun this game haven't seen this part of the dungeon. And I've personally seen it a lot of times because rando is a thing and there are chests in rando. It can be quite hard, so hopefully nothing happens. This room in particular can be a total pain. You have to be right on the edge if you don't use a seed. And there are these guys in the way. And you have to wait for the left one to not be in the way in order to jump. There we go. This room has a roller. There are some tricky jumps here, but the roller is not a problem. And here he has to... oh. That's the problem of not using a seed. With a seed you can make that cycle easily, but you hit that and then go. Here's a spinner that we realized that is somewhat tied to the Dungeon 2 one, in that if this spinner changes, for some reason the spinner in Dungeon 2 also changes. It's something that playing rando revealed and we still don't know why it happens. He gets lucky with a heart, but it's not gonna help that much. And now move that, and we get to see the namesake of HSS Skip. Not quite yet, but here. The Hyper Slingshot. It's actually a completely useless item in many ways. We discovered it doesn't triple hit, it counts as one seed hit in any boss that may matter. And it's also slower than using the normal slingshot because you wait for both the seed that went through and any seed that hit the wall to disappear. So yeah, it's a pretty bad item. It's good for one thing, the mid boss, which we are gonna see now. Polar, one of the hardest mid bosses in all of Zelda. It's really tricky. It only has 3 health, but hitting him once is extremely hard, especially if he decides to body you, because he deals a lot of damage and it's really hard to avoid it. So we'll see how good Oranges is at that. There's also a key here that he needs. It's important not to forget this key. You need at least 5 bombs, I think, to get through this. He's using a route that is gonna make it so he needs 1 more bomb. And there are also some diamonds in the way, which is bad. Oh, and he's jinxed. Don't forget that those are curse bubbles that jinx you and you can use any item. But I don't think you can... it bars you from using any item. I think it bars you from attacking. I'm not sure. I haven't been hit by one in a long time. And now we get to see Polar on 5 hearts, which is not ideal. If you want to enter this fight with as many hearts as possible, especially because that happens. Polar loves to just ram into you. So the way you beat Polar is hitting him with Mr. Seed changes his polarity, I guess we can call it that, between hot and cold. You want it to be cold for it to drop a pillar, and then you hit with a Mr. Seed as well, and it turns into a crystal. And then you change his polarity to to fire again and hit him with a crystal. The tricky part is that he likes to move a lot and pursue you. And that can happen as well. You have to be right in him in order for this hit to hand. So this is why HS Escape is so great, because you don't have to deal with this. Ideally you want to shoot your hyper slingshot in a way that hits both him and the pillar in order to create a crystal. And then you can just get a crystal and hit him. Still, getting a perfect fight there is basically impossible, because he likes to troll a lot. And the worst part about Fripola is that if you die to him, you have to go all the way through the dungeon in order to have another fight. At least you can use this room to get full health. That's gonna be useful. Still taking a lot of hits. Fire kisses for some reason deal a heart and a half of damage, I think, or maybe a heart, which is really bad, because they are basically the same as kisses. Now let's see if he farms a little bit more for hearts. The only hard drops that are guaranteed are the two on the right, but they don't respawn, so you can't really farm them. It's basically random. We'll see if the fight is way better this time. Hopefully it will be. Getting stuck in Fripola is one of the reasons that the route with HS Escape is much preferred by many people. But sometimes you can't really do anything about it. That should be a clean hit. Not clean if he hits you, but that's okay. That should be another clean hit. There we go, just one more hit and we're done. And that should be another one. And he's dead. Second try for oranges. Pretty good. Now as far as the rest of the dungeon goes, he has to get extra keys. So as long as he doesn't forget about that, we should be Gucci. Second and last resisted use of the hyper slingshot to light all those torches. And here's a puzzle. It's very lenient. There has been a lot more, I don't know how to call it, whatever. There are a lot of possible solutions to this. None of them are particularly good or particularly bad. This is one of the standard solutions. Pushing that block until the very end and then just doing that. And we get to see the worst 2D section of the game. These are ice platforms, which means that they have ice physics, and then you have to also go in these conveyor belts. And finally go through a really slow track through the forms. And now we are at the post-SSS skip, I guess we could call it that. The part of the dungeon that you would be in if you did the SSS skip. You remember to open the floor, or the bridge rather, so that's good. Means we don't have to go through all of that. He still has one seed, we'll see if he uses it. No, he's gonna use the boomerang instead. That's the backup start for this, in case you don't have any seeds. And since you already need the boomerang for this, it's kind of convenient. Now, killing the pulse voices with sound. And now he has to hope that the kisses are on the way. And they were kind of nice. Now, here's the main difference that if you were paying attention to what Dragon was doing, I guess you can see it now. Dragon had exactly one key coming here, and Oranges has 0, which means that he has to go out of the way and get a key, which means that he has to throw a crystal on the other pit that we didn't visit. At least we're gonna get to see the entire floor, or basement floor rather, of the dungeon completely solidified. There's another key here. I really hope he knows the actual route for this, because he entered it in a place that I don't know if it's optimal, if you have to get all the keys, but I'm gonna assume it is. Oh, he's gonna do the other hole first. Doing this part of the dungeon as intended is pretty sad, mainly because you have to go back and forth with the same minecart 3 times, instead of just, I guess 1? We can call it 1, yeah. It's technically 2, but sure. So now that he has dropped that crystal, he has to hit the switch and get another one. That's the 3rd hole. And now he's gonna go down, enter the stairs, get the extra key he needs to open that block that is on screen right now. And then to continue. And of course the wizard was in the way. A classic. Shoutouts to one specific trick jump here that would skip using that hole. It was found by Dragon and then obsoleted like 2 days after it was found. It was a kind of hard trick with a... I think it was a bomb boost? I don't know. It was definitely as tricky as HSS skip, but it was not useful. It basically only skipped hitting a switch. Hitting a switch and raiding a minecart, I guess, but that's barely any time saved. Now one just has the last key he needs. I can go here, move the minecart, and get to work on the last hole. And now the last hole is here. There's just one annoying Stalfos on the way. And a few kisses also popped up. But that's it. The way to the boss is open. I'm just wondering if he needed any extra bombs. Probably could have done it without the extra bombs, but make sure that you don't run out, sure. And now for Medusa Head. Well, he wants to refill on health first. Medusa Head is not that dangerous of a boss in terms of the damage he or she does, so you don't really need the entire health, but sure. Thinking it's safe, not spamming on the center hits, and that's it. He's gonna get the mandatory Dungeon 8 hard container, of course, and get his last essence. Now, for one last stop, to the Mako tree. Shoutouts to Maple there. Her shadow was in the screen for about half a frame. Oh no, it was skipping a few frames. Now Oranges is gonna enter Northern Peak and go to Onyx's castle. Get the final reveal of Twin Robo, and we'll see how his Onyx skills are. Time for Facade. Okay, Facade giving him a pretty good pattern. Doesn't really use it. Had a really late bomb throw. Facade can do that attack as well. That loses a lot of time because he hides. But that was a pretty good fight. Doesn't get the fairy. Well, he can get another one here, really. Time for Onyx. We'll see if he takes it slow and uses the Season Rod to get not Nairo. I keep saying Nairo, Dean away. Or if he uses it to damage boost through that. Gets hit. Now things are gonna get a little messy. Phase 1 is done. Okay, takes out the Season Rod. Smart. Don't take any risks. Who gets the tornado attack? That's pretty bad because this tornado deals 1 heart of damage and you don't want to get hit. Keeps running into the ball and chain. I guess we can call it a ball and chain? Sure. It deals only half heart of damage, but it's still damage that piles up. And you want to enter Dragon Onyx in as much health as possible. Okay, deals with the first phase. And now with half a heart less than Dragon Head, it's time for Dragonox, commonly known as Dronox. I just call it Sigma because it's Sigma. We'll see if he goes for a stun lock. Not quite. Takes it a little slow. Doesn't quite make it to the other hand. The beeps start coming through. That's gonna make him a little nervous. Fails one of the hits actually, but Onyx doesn't do any time attacks. And now he's not positioned to get on the hand, so yeah, that's gonna be a time loss. Oh no, and the balls. This Dronox's worst attack, because you can barely do anything. Oh, he gets hit. That's unfortunate. That's gonna be a death from oranges. I don't know anyone that can reliably dodge that attack. It's very, very hard. And it also takes a while to just stop doing that, so you never want to see that attack. Oranges was preventive and got extra bombs before heading into Onox. It's something you can do. It's generally not faster, of course, but still, if you are not sure that you can get through Dragon Onox without dying, it's something that you should always do. Oh yeah, there was a third Oracle's game was supposed to be released. It was Oracle of Secrets, I think. Whatever. Farore exists in the game, inside the Mako trees, but she never really got any chance to do anything. She's basically the password girl. You give her passwords and things happen. But yeah, there was supposed to be a third game that was never released. I don't know why. No one knows why. But hey. At least we can all agree that the best girl out of the three got a game, so that's nice. I'm talking Nairo, of course. Shouts to the best Oracle games, which are exactly one. Ages. Orange is taking the risk this time and hitting Nairo. I mean, Dean, come on, stop doing. I'm so stupid sometimes. His health is dropping really low, actually. It's gonna be tighter than the last try. But he's dead. Now, with 3 hearts, the second try has to be the try. So send your energy to oranges to beat Sigma. Commonly known as Ligma. That was too much. Oh no, got bodied by the hand. Oh, that's really bad. When you're not on the floor, ready for the hand move, you can't really do anything about it. So now, half a heart. One mistake is another death. He doesn't take the risk. Waits for another attack. And we have a high altitude Dronox fight. And he gets it! GG. With a time of 2:34.06, Oranges finishes with a very, very tight Dragon Onox fight. That was super close. Unfortunate run, many mistakes, but hey, finished. That's more than I did. So congrats. Dronox fight. Oh. And he gets it. Why am I hearing myself? That's bad. Okay. Congrats to Dragon for the win. Unfortunately, the time limit for these races is supposed to be 2 hours and a half. So an interview right now would be kind of bad. There are more races coming up. Stay tuned. I don't know what's coming right next to this, but whatever. I'm gonna have to close this as fast as possible. Tomorrow we have Mashi versus Lee Fonzi or Kudo, or how it's pronounced. I have no idea actually. That should be at 12 p.m. EDT. No, wait. Wasn't that on... Never mind, that's Sunday, so... No, wait. I'm stupid. Tomorrow is Sunday, yes. We have Kudo versus Machi at 12 p.m. EDT. And Phenomenon versus the Cell Shaft at 7 p.m. EDT. Don't miss that. We'll see you another day. Bye bye.